This is Audiobook Caboodle YouTube channel. Place for finest collection of audiobooks and novels.
Don't Marry by James W. Donovan. Introduction. Don't Marry, or Advice as to How, When, and Who to Marry, by Hildreth. The tale that I relate, this lesson seems to carry. Choose not alone a proper mate, but proper time to marry. It is not intended to advise against marriage, nor to draw the line too closely as to the don't marry class, but simply to hint at the errors of some persons who match badly on so long a contract. The yes or no question is the vital one for all young people to answer. Some answer too soon, others wait too long. Others never reach such a climax of happiness as to be invited by an eligible partner. The genius of selection is the rarest of faculties. What most puzzles the will and makes us bear the ills we have is the theme of selection. A mother's or father's view of any suitor may be at variance with a daughter's wish and destroy the peace of both for a lifetime. But quite generally the real trouble arises from a spiteful choice or a hasty one, or one in some of the forms here mentioned. Should these hints prevent one unhappy marriage, they will well repay the little study that their brevity requires. To avoid much lecturing, only 2 examples are given at any length in the form of stories. These are as near to the real characters as the writer can safely relate them, being founded on actual romantic and unromantic marriages. As marriage is the first question that every family will discuss, it is well to treat it with exact candor. End of introduction.
Don't Marry by James W. Donovan, Section 1. Don't marry for beauty merely. Very few have a supply that would last a full dozen years in a married life that should continue for 3 decades. And more than that, beauty is not the only requisite to happiness. Very handsome people are almost always vain, often exacting, and generally live on their form, paying little or no attention to the rarer qualities of manhood or womanhood. If one seek beauty alone, he will find it in the fields and flowers and gardens, in paintings, artworks, and things of nature, while the real pleasures of life may be found in 1,000 ways outside the worship of beauty. There are a dozen considerations beyond beauty that should govern the choice of a companion. Think for a moment whom you admire most, trust implicitly, and love more ardently than all others. Truly, it is not the wax doll face in a milliner's window. Were that so, why not marry the model and get the perfection of beauty? The day will come when the rain beats in at the heart windows. The time may run along so fast till the summer is over and the winter snowdrifts shade your locks with silver, when one by one of your friends will visit at the fireside, when someone will love you for your mind and heart and nobleness. Someone suited to your Silver Age condition and disposition will be beautiful without any name for beauty. As the soldier said of Grant's face after Shiloh's bloody battle, "That was the handsomest face I ever saw, yet it was plain and dusty and rugged." Prize winners in matrimony have been women of finer mould than mere beauties, women who have won the hearts of statesmen and painters and poets, and the good and great of all time were women of fascination, or what the Southern ladies call sweet women, and not alone noted for their beauty. Many a one has been known to have been plain but social, not always unhandsome, but never beautiful. They are the best wives and noblest mothers who have more to commend them than mere grace of features, shade of skin, or colour of eyes, or art of beautifying. Some are frivolous, and more are flattered into danger. The most miserable man I know is married to one of the most beautiful women. He is jealous, she is exposed to insults unawares. Their home is a Hades 6 days out of 7. I heard him wish she were less attractive. Don't marry a man for money. If money is your real object, the older and uglier he is the better, for nothing should come between you and the chosen idol of your affection. If you marry one for his money, he will find it out shortly. What sublime contempt a man must have for one who simply loves his pocketbook. Why not love his farm or lumber yard or herd of cattle? The love of money is a miserly pretence of affection that leads to discontent, distrust, and disgust when they find it out. Besides, wealthy men are men of care. The wife of a noted millionaire has had her husband's body stolen from its vault, has been long kept in agony, is an object of pity to all who know her. Another wife was heard to say, "Why, I don't have the privilege, nor the money, nor the good times that my girl Bridget enjoys. I am poor and anxious and depressed, and weary of hearing my husband say over and over again, 'You are fixing for the poorhouse.' He really thinks and believes we will end life in the poorhouse, and yet he enjoys a princely income. Thousands of such men carry their load of care, and load of wealth, and load of anxiety, and how can they carry any burden of love? Don't marry a very small man, a little fellow far below all proportion. Try to get some form to admire, something to shape things to, and someone who is not lost in a crowd completely, who is too little to admire and too small for beauty. You may need strong arms and brave hands to protect you. You will need hands to provide for and maintain you, and a good form is a fine beginning of manhood or womanhood. Mental greatness is not measured by size of brain or bodily proportions. Great men are neither always wise nor always large. They are more often of more medium build, and well balanced in gifts of mental and physical development. Of the two, a very large man is better than a small one, and a medium large woman likewise. Don't marry too young. The right age to marry is a matter of taste. 21 for girls and 24 for men may be a little arbitrary, but certainly is sensible. The happy early marriages are rare. It too often happens that love is mistaken, or poorly informed, or lacks an anchor in good judgment. There is no use of reasoning about it. Love is love, and will marry in spite of reason, and in some cases it runs away with its choice and repents it 1,000 times soon after. But be sensible, for a life contract should be a sensible one. What is the use of throwing away one season, skipping girlhood or boyhood, to rush into maturity and maternity? The records of divorce courts tell the silly and sorrowful stories of many a mismated pair married too young and slowly repenting of their rashness. Ask of your truest friends. Take counsel. Be above foolishness. Don't marry a villain. Many a girl is ripe for an adventure, and in appearance nothing more resembles an angel than a keen and designing villain, a thoroughbred, not a gambler merely, but worse, a wreck. Such men may be wary, artful, deceitful, attractive. They are crafty. Their trade compels it. They may be handsome, often so. They may be oily and slick, most of them are. They may live rich and expensive lives for a season. Ill-gotten gains are not lasting. Heaven pity the girl that marries one of these adventurers, for the end is bitterness. A friend met one on the Pacific road, married him, and learned to her sorrow that he drank to excess, swore like a pirate, lived in debauchery, and early offered to swap wives for a season with a boon companion. And that man, she said, was as handsome as a dude, as slick as an auctioneer, as oily as a peddler. I loved him only 1 day after marriage. Don't marry a hypocrite. Of all things, get sincerity. Get the genuine article. If you get a hypocrite, he is brass jewelry, and will easily tarnish. Make careful inquiry. See that he is all that he pretends to be, or never trust him. The habit of deceit is one of a lifetime. Some join churches for no other reason than to cloak iniquity. It is not the rule by any means. It is a too common exception. One who goes from city to city and captivates too many by his oil of blandness, one who has no business, an idler, one who apes the rich and is ground down in poverty, one who lacks the courage to live like himself and had rather live a lie and deceive the world around him, is an unfit companion and will bear watching. Don't marry a coquette. One that is worn out by a long list of discarded admirers is like stale bread, worse every day and seldom grows better by long standing. There are women and girls sometimes who glory and revel in the names of discarded lovers, whose sense of honesty has been poisoned, numbed, and frozen by cheating their victims through pretended affection, until they have lost all heart or honesty, who deserve to be left alone to ponder on their cruelty for the balance of their miserable existence. Of all the worst forms of flirting, coquetry is the most detestable. It is not only trifling away the time of both, but casting distrust on the holiest of all sentiments, the purity of womanhood. To steal money is honourable compared to stealing affection. The habit of coquetry will, or may, last long after marriage. She who practises it will follow up in unpleasant references to her conquests wishing she had married at this offer or that, and wear out the happiness of her last conquest by a frequent reminder of his inferiority to the others. Don't marry a woman for her money. These people are tenacious to a minute degree. They long to remind you of my house, my property, my farm, my lots on Lincoln Avenue, my furniture, my bank account, and the like, making one a pensioner all his life for his board and clothing. If there is any difference, it should be with the man. He is expected to control property. He is the master of his house, or the manager of his expenses. Very naturally he says "my store" or "my lots," but it will sound far more fair and considerate, even if he says "our" in lieu of "my" sometimes. The only fair way to act about it is to treat marriage as a partnership where nobody owns all, but each has an equal interest. It is fair to divide a good portion of one's property with his wife, fair to deed her a nice homestead and present her a given allowance, liberal as one's income will warrant, and let her draw from it as her own, and not be a beggar each time she needs money. Don't elope to marry. It is a weak affection that cannot wait a while. Jacob served 7 years, then 7 more, for Rebecca. She was a fine specimen of womanhood, as represented in paintings. Housekeeping was easy and inexpensive then, but they patiently waited and were handsomely rewarded. Ruth was an excellent example of girlhood, in no great hurry to marry, taking the hardships of travel. Her devotion to her mother touched the heart of a king, and she won a splendid prize for her patience. She might have eloped with a stage driver or a coachman and ended her life with many less historical society notices. End of section 1.
This was Audiobook Caboodle YouTube channel presentation. We hope you enjoyed listening. For full audiobook, check out our playlist section. Links in description below.